Welcome to SAP UI5 training session. In this training session, we're going to see what is SAP Web IDE and its use and how to build SAP UI5 application on Web IDE. Before we start and get into Web IDE, I want to give a small introduction to this Web IDE. So why this Web IDE came into the picture? As we know in SAP UI5, to build application, we use Eclipse. So if people who are ABAP developers or others like who will be not liking Eclipse, or maybe they don't want to have a local environment, that time the SAP have came up with something called Web IDE, which you can do it on the web. The development you can do it on the web. So this Web IDE is on cloud as of now. So it means like how much you use, that much you have to pay for it. So there is a free account also. So I'll be letting you know how this free account can be used in this session. And let us go to Web IDE. So it's a Web IDE is nothing but a browser-based integrated development where you can do a development as SAP UI5 application can be written there. The code you can write in there and you can deploy it on the cloud, your application. So you'll not be using any local Eclipse and you'll not be using a local ABAP deployment. You can directly deploy your application there. So this have a standard templates, that is nothing about an application templates, where the Fury also came into the picture. So Fury apps also can be deployed. So I hope you have some idea about Fury. If not, like Fury is nothing but a template which SAP has came up with. So when you talk about SAP UI5, so SAP UI5 is a technology. So by using this technology, they have built one template called Fury template. So Fury template look like master and detail page, and Fury applications are of three types. One is analytical apps, another one is fact sheet, and other one is transactional. So to build transactional apps, we'll be doing we can use this Web IDE. So it's a everything is source code based because everything works with the code. So we have to do some configurations as well, and that also will be discussed in this session. And end-to-end application development lifecycle. So how we used to do in Eclipse, the same thing we can do it in the web. So you don't need any system requirements. So that can also just will be getting a web URL. Just make use of that web URL and work upon. So you can be an expert. And one more thing, one suggestion before getting into Web IDE. So when the requirement is straightforward, in Eclipse you'll be having you'll be taking some 20 to 30 hours to develop a simple requirement. So when it comes to Web IDE, you can do it in 5 minutes. That's the beauty about this Web IDE. So end-to-end application can be deployed. So the target audience will be developers, even business experts and designers can work on Web IDE. So that is what SAP came up with this Web IDE. So the use cases will be like creating a new SAP UI5 application and create a custom Fury apps and extend the Fury apps. So when you do a course on Fury, that time you'll be seeing like how you create Fury apps and extend Fury apps. So in this session, I'll be more into SAP UI5. So how you gonna write SAP UI5 code in Web IDE and how you gonna deploy. Once you register yourself with account hanatrail.ondemand.com, then once you log in, you should give your personal email address or any company email address, whatever you want. You can log in once
and then your screen will look like this, the page. So this has the information, your trail account ID, and the information settings. You can do settings whatever you want, the themes you can choose, and etc. This is how the HANA cloud platform look like. But now our concern is towards IDE. So how we gonna register? By default, we have to go to subscriptions. So in these subscriptions, we have so many subscriptions. So by default, SAP Web IDE will be subscribed. If you don't see any active version here, then you can go to a new subscription. Then there will be the list. So you can click this and save if you don't have any thing. Usually Web IDE comes, the other theme designer, SAP Mobile and Trail will not come. So Trail is for Fiori Launchpad, SAP Mobile is for SAP mobile applications, Theme Designer is for designing your own themes for Fiori Launchpad. So like that. So this is already subscribed. So you can click on this. Once you click on this, it will be navigating to the HTML5 subscription. So the application you are, now the active version is 1.10. So click on this. It will be navigating to your Web IDE. So in this Web IDE, we can use it like a Eclipse. But in Eclipse, we'll write the code exactly. Whatever is required, we will be writing. Now here we can choose a template and straight away give our data source, and straight away your project will be ready for you. So there's a 3 way of. So creating a project, there are 3 types. One is new project from the template. You can pick it from the template, and new project from sample applications. That means there is a list of sample applications. We can choose one of it, and if you want to extract it or if you want to extend it, you can do it. And new extension project. You already developed a project and you want to extend it. Like already we have a Fiori standard apps and you want to extend it, that time we'll make use of this particular button. And you can check what is the new releases. And if you need any documentation, go to here, right click, get started. You'll have the documentation here. And this is overview of web content. It will clearly understand what Web IDE is for. And this develop gives you, see how Web IDE supports the key stages of the development cycle. So this is very important. So that is the reason Web IDE came into the picture. So we'll see the get started. So now the latest version is 1.10. Earlier it used to be 1.9. So this is what. So how do we open a Web IDE? That is also will be given here. See, this is what the prerequisites for opening HANA. So this is the account which we'll be using, United States, and in general we'll be using this account.on1.com. This is the one we use for the Europe. So what it means is, with this productive use account, you'll get HANA database, 1 GB HANA database, and you can upload any Fiori applications you can work around with, and you can develop your application. Everything you can do it here. You can create views, you can create something, everything related to HANA database and SAP UI5 you can do. So what are the supports? What are the browser it supports? So version 10 and more for Microsoft, Mozilla, Google Chrome, and Safari. Okay. Interesting part is shortcuts and features and benefits. So once you click on features and benefits, so it will let you know, so what are the benefits you have. So as we already discussed before, and it is Web IDE is a flexible tool for developing and to accelerate asynchronous development. You don't have to wait for anyone. So you can work, two of them can work together and develop it. And in Eclipse, it will take 20 hours, but in SAP UI5, it will take 1 hour. Web IDE, sorry, in SAP Web IDE, it will take 1 hour. So you are saving those 19 hours. So isn't it good enough? Yeah. And the benefits will, what you see is what you get. You don't have to. So when it is Eclipse, you have to run the project and then you will see what you are achieving. Here, you'll be seeing and you'll be getting that output straight away. And the coding and testing is used with the interactive features, because we have devices ready and we can customize our screen width, etc. And instantly we can preview it. That is also good. And you can use a mock data to build your application. So straight away the mock data will be created inside. And you can deploy this on any platform like HCP and ABAP. That's also good, because when it comes to Eclipse, we need to have a separate plugin and we can use a lot of settings, etc. So a lot of things need to be done. And we have some proxies also, like we have to set a reverse proxy, etc. So here we don't need, because the system is already here with HANA, so we don't have to worry about it. So collaborate directly with the other developers via integrated collaborative tools, that is Git we have. And use a Web IDE extensibility framework, so we can extend our application and create our own plugins. That's the beauty of it. And the use code source control to improve your workflow. So you can also check your control, the how good is it, like means what you have code check similarly. Yeah. And then you'll be going to this shortcuts. So there are a few shortcuts you can make use of it. Just have it. If you want a new file, this control alt n. It's always, as a developer, I always use shortcuts. So even the most of the developers who are sitting there and watching this video would be interested in shortcuts more, and they want to code by themselves. They don't want to go. Most of the developers don't use mouse a lot, isn't it right? Yeah. So menu give you our overview. What are the things we have? So this is what we have discussed in the slide. Okay. And the development perspective and how secure is it. So we that's the most important thing. How secure is it? Everyone thinks about, like, my code sits in HANA, so why we want yeah, it's HANA cloud platform, so my code sits here, so how secure is it? Do I use it for the productive use or not? Yes, it is secure. You can you are using a SAP logon now, right? So what you can do is you can have your own company's authentication over here. So that is what you have to do. You have to talk to your system admin and security administrator, so they will give you the certificates that you can directly configure in HANA cloud platform. Like that you'll be doing it. See, this is how the architecture is. So your repository browser, app testing, editors, this is all Web IDE, and HANA cloud connector will have a different in the permanent file system. This is how your code sits here in the cloud. The XML service will be having a gateway service which will be communicating to your applications with the help of a dispatcher, web dispatch. Okay, and the overview of HANA Cloud Platform is you have a cockpit, and inside this cockpit we have selected, like we have used a subscription and we have went to a Web IDE and we enabled it. So Web IDE, and you can talk to any source control, like Git is a source control which you have right now, and Orion is another one which you want to have a local system. From local system, if you want to access Web IDE, then you can install Orion. Okay, there is another way of installing your Web IDE locally. Okay, or else you can have a Web IDE on this. If you install it locally, then it will be again another Eclipse, right? So whatever you are doing for the Eclipse, you need to do everything. This is one-time executable file. If you run it, then you need to maintain some configurations, then it will sit locally. But most of them prefer it over web, because we can provide security also over web, and we can give our company certificates to be more secure. So even SAP UI5 version, and your browser calls this cockpit, and cockpit calls Web IDE, or else your browser directly can call this Web IDE. There is a separate link available, but you subscribe, that time you'll get it. So like this, and then your HANA Cloud Connector will be concept. So in this, we're going to discuss HANA Cloud Connector at the end. But before that, we'll see how we're going to deploy our applications and how we're going to play around with the system. Okay, so HANA Cloud Connector is basically, now think HANA Cloud Connector is for the SAP Gateway. For SAP Gateway, we need HANA Cloud Connector. And to talk to any BAPIS, like any RFCs, BAPSIS, we need this. So components are already there. These are the components. Okay. We'll go to Web IDE, develop. So this is what development stage is for. The customer delivery. Before that, project definition, analyze and design first, whatever you are thinking, and then your development, implementation, and initiation. So next is stabilization, right? So you're stabilizing, like your iteration and evaluation of this, and then customer delivery, development and maintenance support. So once you deliver it, this you have to maintain. This is the development process. And there are some useful links. You can go through it anytime. And then we have import an application. Suppose your application is somewhere in your local pen drive or in a local system. You want to install, you want to get it as a zip file. That is nothing but archive file. So you can get it through this. And then you can import it from SAP UI5 repository, and you can import from HANA Cloud Platform. So you already have an application, and then you can get it. So your neighbor, your colleague application, you can get imported here, and you can clone it to Git repository. So these are the benefits which you have. Okay, now we create a new project now. How we're gonna do it is click here on the new project from the template. So once you click on this template, you'll be asking it for the Fury master detail page application. So click on any of the application and say next, and you say something called demo1. So it will check, and here is the source which you want to upload it from. So there is a service catalog, and there's a workspace, there's a file system, and there's a service URL. So in this service catalog, first you define your destination. So how are you going to define your destination? That we'll see when we talk about HANA Cloud Connector. So you select your system here. So I have ES1 and FS1. So I'm going to use FS1 for now. And then it will search for the all services which are available. So I'm going to take something like SRV. So when I say SRV, there is something called sales SRV. SRA008. Okay, I'll click this. So once the service is selected, here you get the information. And then you'll say next, template customization. So you'll give the namespace. So that is called SAP demo, any namespace. And you can see the master, that is sales, and the data collection. You can have any collection which you want. I will be having a work list collection, and here are your items. This is for the mapping. So here you might map it. So you need to know the template first, and then you can map it. So this is how the numeric content. I want to leave it blank. You can content. So this is a detail page. These are the, see here the template is. Once you click on this is what? This is item title, numeric, units, and this is item title, numeric, units, status, attribute 1, attribute 2, attribute 3. So item title I have given, numeric I haven't given, units I haven't given. So now in the detail page we have like this. Okay, this is for the mapping. That is nothing but data binding. So detail selection title. So like that. So detail selection title. Yeah, have it. So like this we have. So status and company paid and the date of time, like this we have. So this is, and say next. This is confirmation. Say finish, and then your project will be finished and it will be navigating to your projects. Yeah, the demo one is done. So once you click on this demo one, then it will be opening your project. So have you created any file? Have you, so if you have to create it in your SAP UI5 application, you need to write each code, right? App controller you need to start with, app view you need to do, detail, master, not found. If you couldn't find any file, then what page you know to display, everything you need to do, right? So that is how this is created. Isn't it sounds good? Like 20 hours if you spend on this application, you are doing it in a 5 minutes, not more than 5 minutes as well, when the services are ready. So how do you run it? So you say run here to run your application. Yeah, it will ask for this. So choose index.html. So once you choose index.html, it will give you the app view. So by default medium, so it will check for your authentication, and then it will load your application. So this is what, so it is loading. There are no entries, that's the reason it didn't find. Okay, then we're going to enlarge. Okay, there are no entries, so we'll pick some services where we have data. Okay, there might be some there might be some problem, the service isn't working now, might be that system is not turned on or something. Okay, so yeah, there are no entries, so like this we have the customer. Okay, custom. Okay, you can refresh this, and the orientation is something, see, like this orientation. Okay, just understand this, and we'll pick some project which we have data. Okay, so just for your understanding how to use Web IDE, and later on, like, you know how to, right, do it. So because we are trying to change the file on the fly with French, there is no French I18 file. So that's the reason French data has here. This is good scanner. Just understand this. How do we use? So you need to set up your own data. For security purpose, there is no data shown to this because this is my company's uh, server where I'm using. So that is what. Okay. So we have file. When you say new, there is another one which will code from the sample applications. So we're gonna run the sample application. So we're gonna say purchase orders. So this is how the purchase order looks like. Okay. So we already have a purchase order EMP ref apps extpov, and we say manage projects. We already have shop also we have already existing. Okay. So we close this. To close this, there is a cross button. Yeah. So I'm going to delete this. So you can delete this app. It will be deleted. So it is refresh. So delete this app. And you have deleted this as well. And if you want to delete this, I've deleted this as well. In case tech you want to delete the projects, you can do it like this. Okay. Yeah, so I have deleted it. Now the folder is empty. Now I'm going to create a new project which is already a sample app. So click on new and then go to project from sample application and click on this, and I'm going to take a approve purchase order application and say next. There are categories. In future you'll have so many sample applications. That time you will have the different categories, so that time you can choose. So these are all the Fury applications. So click on this, and so I agree, so that you don't have to, you will not be copying this project and you'll not be using this content somewhere else. Just for your reference, there will be, you can read this license. We say the same thing. Go finish. Okay, this is all it is. So this is the files created. So you know what are the files all about. So I don't have to explain anything. So I18 file, only English is there. So lint is for security purpose, the CSS files. Okay, so right click, deploy this project. You can deploy anywhere, but I want to run this. Run as web application, or you can have run here. So once you run, this will automatically run the application. Yeah, no purchase order available right now because there is some error with the OData service. So what you have to do now is you have to run with the mock data now. Okay, services aren't working now. So run with mock data. So how are we going to run with mock data? Run with mock data. So to run this mock data, you have to go here, local file index, run with mock data. Okay. So once you run with mock data, then your application will open with some mock data. So mock data will choose from C. Now it is working. So finally we saw some data. Okay, and we'll be seeing in the large, that is for the desktop users. So it's running with the mock data, right? So this is what the purchase orders. So general information, and we have the quantity and the price, and the gross income, right? And there are 7 items, and these are the things. So once you click, this will be changed. Okay. To purchase order, you can search also. I have it here. Okay, I have it here like this. Okay, I went there. You can cross, so everything will be there. So you can refresh this as well, and you can have it. So orientation works only in iPad and mobile. So this is an iPad view. So you can choose any of them. Okay, there is a orientation now. This is out. Okay, and here it gives. Okay, so this is how you're gonna see it from the sample applications. So this is how you're gonna use this Web IDE, and if you have to create your own application, you can do it like this. New project from a sample component. Say new first. Sample gives you this, but when you close this, go here, say new. In the template you have a SAP UI5 project. So click on this, say next, create demo 2, and say next. What we want, you can have the namespace as well. SAP demo 2, and say next. Is a finish. Okay. This is how it is. So if you want to run the application, you have to go here, view action. So here's the content. So if you want to create a button, you can create a button like this. Button with the text. Hello 1, 2, 3, and that's it. So automatically see, and you save it and run this application. Run this application as a web application. It's always SAP UI5 as a web application. So once you create it, see hello button comes. Right? This is how you create a sample SAP UI5 project. Okay, you can code everything here. You can get rid of Eclipse. How it sounds. Good. Now you can create. So if you want to create the same thing like how you have done in Eclipse, the same thing you can export it as well as a WAR file. So run configuration, you can run with mock data, you can run on our web server, you can deploy it directly on ABAP and HANA. So you need ABAP credentials and HANA credentials. Once you click it, if you have, you can deploy it, and you can see the status of this application as well. Okay. Yeah, thank you. And in the next video, I'll be showing you the HANA Cloud connector. So how you're going to connect, and you're going to see that.